Hello and welcome to another video. So today we are taking a look at PortalCraft, in particular artifact PortalCraft, or hybrid-y artifact PortalCraft. It's Omen Maisha artifact, which is a pretty standard build these days, even pre-new expansion. The only actual couple of additions that I can see immediately, I don't see any others, I'm pretty sure the only two, is Artifact Call, really good artifact draw, always love using that card, and Dazzling Archer, which is great for its Crystallize effect for the early game. Turn 1 play this out, you start generating artifacts like nothing. And then Fanfare, deal 4 damage to an enemy follower for a 7-drop. While not the best, can definitely come in massively handy. So really nice all-round support for the artifact PortalCraft, and hopefully will perform really well. So let's get into it and take a look. So for the first game here, we are going against Sword. I only have a vague recollection of playing this game from yesterday, so sorry if the commentary isn't perfect for this match, as I didn't get a chance to finish this video off before things got pretty busy yesterday, so I only got this first replay, and then I have the replay I did just before I went to record, so hopefully that one will be a bit better. But looking at our hand right now, we started off fairly well. The Mechanization and the Mechagon are both really good early game cards here, and should come in quite handy, since it's a great turn 1 play against something like Sword that likes to really swarm the board hard. They even went for Champion Deadeye, which is an interesting one right off the bat. Fortunately for us, I do have the Ancient Artifact, but did decide against it. I don't know if that was the correct play. Honestly, there are probably better targets to use a 3-1 against. For example, this Aether here is definitely going to be worth more, and we wouldn't have been able to easily remove it otherwise. So now we get rid of both and get to do 2 damage to face, while also generating more value for the Maisha if we decide we have to take that for lethal. Honestly, I like to lean more on the Omen of Destruction, but the Maisha is definitely a great one to be able to fall back on. It does mean that 2 Evo points are taken up by both Omen and Maisha if you want to use this deck effectively. Of course, it's not the be-all and end-all. You can potentially win games pretty well by just spamming the Evos when needed, and just saving 1 for one of the win cons. Or again, just spamming the board hard enough that your opponent doesn't recover. So there's Balion. It's actually one of the core cards for Sword at the moment. Fortunately for them, they had the Ivory Sword Dance, which was absolutely perfect. They really couldn't have wanted anything better there. Lucky for us though, is why, even though it's going to cost us the Evo here, which luckily we have an extra one of, going second, will definitely save us some hassle. And sets us up pretty nicely for destruction in white next turn, since they are most likely going to wipe out the 4-4. Not really sure why they played the cheap spell there. That was an interesting one, but they went for it. So we get the destruction in black already and raring to go. So now we just need to get that set up for next turn, which with the cards in hand is actually possible. We can actually get it set up for a turn 8 play fairly easily, just off the puppets, so that should work really nicely. It's just a matter of, do I want to use my Evo or not to remove this 3-3? That's really the only question I've got left. So it depends on the Deplace Bot play, and analyzing is okay. I could actually afford to use these in a reasonably effective way, which honestly could have been better. I could have left a 1-1 available and then not use an Evo. That could have worked. Also, we just got Cat Gunner, so it didn't really matter in the end, but that would have been a safer bet. And I still could have used Cat Gunner. But it definitely makes Destruction in Black a really valuable play next turn, since it'll most likely go down to 4, because they're probably going to clear the 3-4 here. And even if they don't, 5 is a very respectable play. So we can get our Destruction in a black up, and probably even play Artifact Call to get some artifacts to clear these off. And lower Destruction in black even further if you want to. Of course, I wanted to generate as many artifacts as I could first. I'm glad I did. That gave me the perfect amount to clear this board out. Plus the drawing of cards never hurt anybody. And Destruction in Black now only costing us 1 point. And ideally here, I probably should have went for Omen. I could have played that out, set it all up and been okay, but just in case, I decided not to. Which obviously ended in a concede, because once Destruction Black hit the board, unless they can remove it, they were going to take serious damage. For our next match, we are going to get to play against bloodcraft. This match I do remember a fair bit better, of course. Like I mentioned, this was a fairly recent one. So, Dazzling Archer, really nice to have in our opener. I did decide to throw it though. Since we are going up against blood, I wanted to go a little more aggressive. Unfortunately, didn't really work in my favour, since we don't really have any decent turn 1 play other than Mecha Gun, but beggars can't be choosers. I decided the hard mull was worth the risk at that point. At least our turn 2 should be respectable, with Cat Gunner being able to hit the board. But the Magistil off the top is definitely a nicer play. Force them into the trade instead of us, hopefully giving us a better advantage. Plus, since they decide to leave it up and hit face, we can actually take it out with Cat Gunner now and clear the 1-1. While at the same time playing Dazzling Archer for the extra artifacts, because why not? Since we didn't get to use it for turn 1, we may as well use it now. Plus, we've got the Omen set up for next turn with the Evo, so that should work well for us. Again, I like to lean on the Omen more than the Maisha. Maisha to me is just a nice extra. Other people I've seen play the deck in the opposite way, where Omen is more of their extra, but each to their own in that respect. Me or the world? Oh, I vote me, for sure. So, Analyzing Artifact, Hoverboard, and Magna Giant are all okay. We do need to get rid of as much as we can here. Fortunately for us, the Analyzing actually looks fairly nice. But the Ancient, definitely the better play, being able to take out the 2-2. And Destruction White, while not playable yet, is getting close. And we should be able to set up our nice Displacer bot. So, Displacer bot plus an artifact should do a nice job. And they went for the Frenzied Wolf, which isn't really that much more value, so it feels like a wasted Evo to me. And there's another Ancient, so we're getting some really good draw. It's kind of what we want at this point, especially with Destruction in White. Making it as playable as we can. We're holding on to the Analyzing, not to show our hand too much. Make them wary of what we could play. And I'm glad I didn't, because Dark Divinity here is a little annoying. It's definitely a card we're going to want to have to deal with. Luckily, White is now very playable. And definitely something I probably should have played before sacking this artifact in, but I mean, it worked pretty well either way. And we can really start generating cards now. Which means Black is definitely playable next turn, so as long as we can get it lower, hopefully that'll be alright. And Artifact Call as well makes me not too afraid to throw artifacts to the board, just for sacrificial reasons. Plus, I mean, it does threaten the board a little bit, so worthwhile, even if we lost them here to a pretty simple card. The only real risk now was that I had to get rid of this 8-6. The double Ancient definitely helped out. Otherwise, I was probably going to go for his Y Evo play. But this worked perfectly. And since we had 2 Magna Giant and we're already getting board clears, I had just to throw one out to try and get some extra value. And unfortunately, Azazel the Depraved with an Evo is going to shut down our instant kill, but it does put them on a 4-turn clock. So all we have to really do is be able to get stuff to stick to the board at all, and we should be okay. The only disadvantage is that they are going to be dealing some damage to us every turn. Fortunately, on the flip side, we're healing every turn, so hopefully that'll buy us some time. And with some nice artifacts and a 3-4, that should be enough to hopefully close down the game. So overall, while not a lot has changed, I do feel like these cards make great emphasis on getting more artifacts in your hand, and they definitely seem to help in that regard a lot. So really enjoy Artifact Call and Dazzling Archer. Really good early game and anytime card really as far as Artifact Call goes. So definitely worth the play if you're interested in playing Portal. It does fairly well, and once you get more used to the style, of course it becomes much easier to see lines of play than most other decks do. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Until next time guys, see ya.